El Clasico, Man United Liverpool, Rangers Celtic. The modern world of sport is dominated by derbies such as these. However, none reach the dizzying heights of the annual Queen's Jordanstown CU Rugby match. Joining us for the Jordanstown pre-match press conference are Clive, the Suit Lindsay, team manager, and Paul, the Arms, Mawini. So my first question to you, Mr. Mawini. Looking back at this fixture last year, how would you rate your individual performance and the performance of the team that you now captain?
I thought we played very well, Connor. I thought the team came together very well, and everyone played their part, and it was a good team performance.
Was there anyone in particular who stood out from the pack, or was it more of a concentrated team effort, as it were?
I thought the performance of Andrew Craney was outstanding.
Cracking performance.
It really was brilliant. Cracking.
According to rumours closer to the previous fixture, it was circulated that Andrew Craney looked very well in a pair of shorts. Would you agree with this view?
I think everyone's agreed in Jordanstown camp that that's true.
Cracking pair of legs. Cracking.
Living it to his name.
Cracking.
So, Mr. Lindsay, over to you. We've noticed with your preliminary team lineup that there's been some changes to the team since last year. Why would you change your winning formula, as it were?
Well, Connor, can I call you Connor?
Of course,
Connor?
anything you like.
Yes. Well, last year we did line out with a 4-4-2 formation, which was okay, but we got swamped in the middle. So this year we've gone for 3 in the front row, who are different from last year. Our 2 second rows, we swapped them round. We lost our shape in the back 3, so we lost shape. The half-back pairing has been changed around. The 2 centres have been turned around, and the back 3 are going to be consistently inconsistent from what we started with last year.
So to summarise, you're out of shape, inconsistent and turned around.
Yes, that's sir. Yes,
Well, that sounds like a winning formula once again.
of course.
So was there any particular issue with Andrew Craney?
Yes, we did have some issues with Andrew Craney. With all superstars, they do have that small hint of sadness in them. So we had to get special permission from authorities to allow him to play in this game.
Female authorities?
We did have to get on the phone to his wife to get special permission. So Emma, if you're watching, thank you.
Well, all our love goes out to her. So to you, Mr. Mawini, we believe you've been working closely with Kung Fu expert and renowned evangelist, Mr. Tony Anthony. How has this helped with the team training?
Yeah, that is correct. Connor, I have been working with him. He's been heavily involved in the training up to this point, and I think he's had a big influence on quite a few members of the team. Really good.
Mr. Lindsay, if you could summarise Mr. Tony the Tiger Anthony in a single word, what would that word be?
I think that word would be abysmal. He was just that good. He was that good.
Oh, excellent. Back to you, Mr. Winnie. We believe that Queens will be fielding a somewhat wannabe Jordanstown, as he's often known. Mr. Simon Clark, to name him. In the wake of the recent Luis Suarez racism handshake controversy, will you be feeling any reluctance to shake his hand when you meet up on the field?
Well, I think it's something that we're going to have to talk about on the day. Obviously, shaking the hand of a man like Simon Clark is a controversial issue. It's something that we're going to have to talk about as a team and decide on the best way forward.
Is it true he moved to abandon the traditional handshake in favour of a more comfortable, intimate hug, perhaps?
We can't really say much about it at this stage. Probably.
Fair enough.
What we can say at this stage, Connor, is that Simon was a surprise inclusion in their side. But what we can say from our side, I think you'll agree with me, Paul, that we have a few surprises up our sleeve of our own.
Does that mean you'll be wearing long sleeve tops for the game?
Sadly, no, we will be wearing the short sleeve tops. It could get quite heated out there. We do have a few players on the bench, though. I tell you, there'll be some players when they get on the pitch. Yes, we have on the bench. You tell them,
I
Paul.
would have to single out one player in particular, Alan Ford. If he gets onto the pitch, he can be a real danger man.
It's
Wonderful.
he's like a ticking time bomb on the sideline, Connor. He's Alan, the time bomb, Ford, and he's just going to be sitting there. Whenever we let him on the pitch, he's going to explode into action, and he just explode all over them.
Alan Ford, it's not a name we've heard often around the Jordanstown campus. Is he a regular Jordanstowner?
He has been regularly at Jordanstown CU. He does have other commitments to other institutions and also to his wife, who also incidentally refers to him as the time bomb.
In public?
Not in public, no sir. No sir.
I would question your sources for that statement, but we'll move on. After such a tightly fought game last year, are there any nerves in the camp, especially with yourself in charge, for the first time we might have?
Nerves, Connor. I'm going to be honest. I cannot even spell nerves, so there will be no nerves on the point of me or of my playing staff.
We've heard it rumoured that you are also unable to spell substitution. Does this mean there'll be no substitutions during the game?
It's S-U-B, sub. So there will be some substitutions. We may have to call in the law enforcement at some point. The law enforcement, that's our next substitution. Tactical genius that is Christopher Pollock. You watch him.
So if your team isn't nervous before such a huge fixture, do you have any particular tactics for the game?
Well, I've been in the game a long time. Longer than I can even remember being in the game, I was in the game. It's important. You've got to hold and give and do it at the right time. You can be slow or you can be fast, but you must get to that try line. They'll hit you and hurt you, defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them. So there's one way to beat them.
And that way is?
That's just round the tries, yes, tries, but we're going to score more tries than Queens, whoever they are.
Oh, okay. Back to yourself, Mr. Winnie. We noted you were quite prominent in the Jordanstown CU last year with your work on evangelism. With your current role as the team captain, we were wondering if you drew on any of these experiences to help you in the team talks, maybe some inspirational words of courage for your team.
I think so, Connor. Yes, it is certainly helped me to give the inspirational team talks and to talk to the players. I think so.
And yourself, Mr. Lindsay, there's been some disconcertion with the fans about your actual credentials to lead such an important team, especially at such a critical juncture. Speaking bluntly, why do you believe you're actually qualified for this role?
Why do I believe that I'm qualified? I think you will find, if you go into my dressing room, I have a tight-knit bunch of players in there who are 100% behind me and supportive behind this venture.
Amen, brother.
Show me some love. Yeah, we've got a team. We were like a bunch of brothers and like a bunch of caged dogs and cats, and when we get out onto the pitch, we will attack like dogs and cats.
Well, let's hope it doesn't rain.
Be raining trees, Mr. Carroll.
So one final point before we move on to your closing statement. Often in the game there's been some particular rituals or rather traditions within rugby training. Do you observe any peculiar mannerisms when you train? Perhaps rituals such as dancing or team chants, etc.?
Well, it's well known. It's well known that the All Blacks like to perform the haka before their games and in the changing room before they get out. We have our own dance routine. It's not quite like the haka, but the words go something similar. But we can't tell you them words because they're important. But when we see Andrew Crackencraney pirouetting round that changing room, we're all in the game. Our heads are there.
Quite an inspirational figure then.
He's a cracking lad. Cracking.
Well, it's good to see you're so devoted to your team members. Finally, what are your predictions for the finishing score, Mr. Mulwiney?
I think it's going to be a very close game, Connor. I think both teams will have chances to win the match, but I think a 16-15 win to Jordanstown, it would be a fair result.
And yourself, Mr. Lindsay?
I think that it's going to be a close game. We're only going to win by 4 or 5 tries. So I think my prediction, if I was a betting man, I'm not a betting man, is that we're going to win 1-0. 1-0.
Just the one goal.
Just one goal.
Okay, very well. Well, thanks for having us here today, and the best of luck with the game.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.